the ability is the ability of something to take different forms. Now, in object-oriented programming, this applies to methods, so the behavior of an object. So depending on one thing or the other, even if we're calling a method with like some name, it might do one thing or the other. So it might call one or a different method. So it's gonna have the same name but call different things. That's what it's called polymorphism. Now there's two types of polymorphism. The one that gets decided, let's say, at compilation time, and the one that gets decided during runtime. So the first time, the one decided at compilation time is called overloading polymorphism. We're gonna look into that one first. So say that we want to make a new function, a new method for hunger. Make it here. And instead of not taking any parameter, we're gonna give it a text in case we want to display something different than hunger. So here we're gonna say that's gonna update text and it's gonna print whatever we pass by parameter. Now these two methods are called the same. So what happens when we do this is it's just gonna call this one. But if instead of hunger we pass a parameter here, what this is gonna do at runtime is it's gonna be let's say intelligent enough to know that, sorry, not runtime, compilation time, is gonna be intelligent enough to know that when this has a parameter it needs to use this method, and when it's not, it needs to use this other method. So we're gonna test this out, and here you can see the first one is calling the hunger method, well in the case in the dog is calling this one. And for cat, since we're passing one parameter, it's calling the new one. So if we were to like pass some different parameter here, it will also call this method in the case of the dog as well. So this is polymorphism for compilation time. Now let's look at runtime. And this is determined when we have one object reference that points into two different objects. Let's see this a bit more into detail. So here we are assigning the dog object to we're assigning this dog object to a dog type class, and same for cat. But since dog and cat inherit from animal, instead of dog we could assign it to a to an animal type, and same for cat. So even though cat and dog are not like instances of animal, they are instances of objects that have inherited from animals, so we can still assign them to an animal reference. So we can still do dog.hunger and cat.hunger, although as you may notice you can do cat.meow because animal does not have meow. But here's the thing, when we call this, it's gonna call the method for dog, not the one for animal. So let's do this and see what happens. Here you can see it calls the one for dog, otherwise it will print this instead animal, but it's working, Husky is working. And for cat is printing the overloaded method from before. I should actually remove this since we're not looking at compilation polymorphism anymore, but runtime. So yeah, here's the thing. They're both. Here's the point is that these two are animal types and are also hunger, same method, but they're different things because one is a cat and the other one is a dog. So in runtime, this is gonna go into the dog object, and this is gonna go into the cat object. Since the cat object doesn't have anything, it's gonna go into the animal. So there you have it. That's the main idea of polymorphisms. You have overloading polymorphisms, which is determined at compilation time when you compile the program, and then you have overloading. Yeah. So the runtime happens when you have overloaded methods. Overloaded is that you have like different parameters. This one you have 0, and this one I have 1. I could make another different one with like 2 parameters, or maybe with a different parameter type. It will be the same. So that's one type, and then the other type is runtime, which happens when you have one object type that references 2 different objects which inherit from the parent type. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this video.